Hello, dear students. I welcome you all in this platform of Sri Jayendra Rangjun classes. Dear students, I am your friend and mentor of this Botany lecture series. Dear student, we have already started with the biological classification lecture series, and today we are with another lecture of this biological classification. In the previous lecture, we have already discussed about the virus, viroids, prions, all these things we have discussed. But in today's lecture, we are specifically focusing on the lichen and mycorrhiza. So first we should understand what is this lichens or lichens. Some pronounce lichens or some pronounce lichens. So this lichen or lichen are the symbiotic association. Now, symbiotic association means here this symbiotic association shows that here two organisms are involved, and these two different type of organism are beneficial to each other. So we call it as a symbiotic association. Okay, so two organisms are involved here in a beneficial way. So we are calling it as a symbiotic association. So it is a mutually association between algae and fungi, and these two organisms which are involved in symbiotic association, they are nothing but algae and fungi. So when algae and fungi are showing the symbiotic association, they are living together, they are in obligate permanent association, and they are benefiting each other. Means algae is giving something to the fungus, and fungus is also giving something to the algae, and they survive in such a way, in a permanent way, then it is a lichen. So you can see this is a diagrammatic representation of the image of a lichen which is growing on a rock. Now in this we have a algae and we have a fungi. The thing is that the algal component, that is algae, is known as phycobiont. It is known as phycobiont. But because you know that the study of algae is phycology, so from that the term derived phycobiont for the algal component. Whereas the fungal component is mycobiont, because study of fungus is known as mycology. So the fungal component over here described as a mycobiont. And here this phycobiont or algal component is autotrophic and fungal component is heterotrophic, and both are particularly, one is autotrophic, one is heterotrophic. Algae is autotrophic, fungus is heterotrophic. So both have a different mode of nutrition, then also they are surviving together and they are forming lichen. So what are the beneficial functions provided by both? So if we talk about algae or a phycobiont, phycobiont has a capacity to synthesize their own food. They are autotrophic in nature. They prepare their own food. So they give some food to the fungus. So it is known that algae provide food to fungus, and in respect to that, fungi provide shelter because fungus can grow to the large area, so they can reach, their hyphae can reach to the different regions, and they absorb mineral nutrient and water and provide to the algae. So in this way, both are benefiting each other. Algae is providing the food and fungus is providing the shelter to the algae and also the nutrients. Now, if one saw a lichen in nature, one would never imagine that they had a two different organisms within them, because they lie this much closely with each other. They are acting or they are working as a one body. And it is known that lichens are a very good pollution indicator. They are very good pollution indicator. And they do not grow in a polluted areas. But polluted areas of what? Polluted areas of what? So it is known that these lichens are very good pollution indicator of SO2, that is sulfur dioxide, and they do not grow in SO2 polluted areas. Sulfur dioxide polluted areas they do not grow because this SO2 causes phytotization of lichen. Now the question is, what is phytotization? So dear students, please understand that this is the important part here. Now, if we talk, we know that they have a algae, and algae prepares a food. If algae is unable to prepare a food, then the algal partner will not survive. And if algal partner will not survive, then the fungus is also not going to survive. Now this algae, you know that they perform photosynthesis. And to perform photosynthesis, there is a need of pigment, and that pigment is chlorophyll. And specifically, chlorophyll A is needed to perform photosynthesis. Now, in chlorophyll A structure, if we see, there is a presence of magnesium. If we remove this magnesium, then this chlorophyll get converted into pheophytin. So this chlorophyll A, if magnesium is removed, it converted into the pheophytin. So this conversion now in chlorophyll A also to perform photosynthesis, and in photosynthesis to perform a light reaction, the magnesium which is present in chlorophyll A is too much necessary in their structural part. But without magnesium, photosynthesis cannot occur. So if we remove the magnesium, the chlorophyll A convert into pheophytin, and with pheophytin, without magnesium, this pheophytin cannot perform a photosynthesis. So this is known as pheophytization of lichen. And if chlorophyll A get destroyed in all the algal component, the algae is not able to synthesize the food. Then if algae are not able to synthesize the food, fungal partner is also going to be dead. These above statements also make us to understand one more important peculiarity. If we saw the lichen in nature, one would never imagine that the two different organisms are within them. See, in this there are two different organisms and they are looking like one. Why? Because there is, you know, that there is a phycobiont and mycobiont, that is fungal part. Phycobiont is only 5% or less than 5% body of algae of lichen is made by phycobiont, whereas the remaining greater than 95% body is made by fungal part. So because this one partner has a less bounded area, whereas another partner is occupying a more area of that particular body, so because of this they are looking like a one body. Okay, we will discuss some more detail now one by one. Okay, so from here we are starting a particular discussion of lichen in somewhat more detail. Now if we talk the study of lichen, if we talk this study of lichen, then this study of lichen is known as lichenology. Okay, and the father of lichenology is Acarius, that is Eric. Icarian. Actually, there is no need to remember this name, but it is just for information. We have discussed that it is a beneficial component. One provide the food to the other one, and the other provide, that is fungal component, provide the shelter. We have discussed now the major part of lichen thallus. Major part of lichen thallus is composed of fungal component. Okay. Now, here we know that there is a particularly a fungal component and there is a algal component. Now, if we talk about the phycobiont or algal component, they are usually chlorophyceae or green algae. Usually, the algal partner or algal component is which one? It is chlorophyceae or green algae and can be blue green algae, that is cyanobacteria. So usually you will find, if any lichen you will see, usually you will find there is a presence of chlorophyceae as a algal partner. Sometimes you will also see the blue green algae as a particularly algal partner. The another component is mycobiota, and mycobiota is fungal component. If we talk about this fungal component, usually it is ascomycetes and can be basidiomycetes. So mostly you will see the fungal partner as ascomycetes. Sometimes you can see basidiomycetes as also fungal partner. Now, based on the fungal component or fungal partner, this lichen are divided into the two types of lichen. So, after studying which one can be the phycobiont, which one can be the mycobiont, now based on the fungal component or mycobiont, we are going to classify this lichen into the two groups. So, let's study that. So, this lichen are divided into two groups based on fungal component. And if we talk about this two, the first one is ascolichen, and other one is basidiolacin. In ascolichen, the fungal partner is ascomycetes. Fungal partner is ascomycetes. And in basidiolacin, the fungal partner is Basidiomycetes. So based on the fungal component, these are divided into the two groups. If there is a ascomycetes, they will be known as ascolichen. If there is a fungal component, basidiomycetes, then they will be known as a basidiolichen. Now, if we talk about ascolichen in more detail, then it is known that in ascolichen, mostly algal partner is green algae. And rarely blue green algae. Okay, so that is the thing which is known in case of the ascolichen. Now, if you talk about examples of this ascolichen, then some lichen like Graphis cladonia, these are lichen. Graphis cladonia, Parmelia, Snia become ascolichen. But when we talk about basidiollichen, mostly the fungal partner is basidiomycetes and algal component is always blue green algae. And if you see the example of basidiollichen, which are belongs to this, that are Corella and Cora. So this is the way classification of lichen based on the fungal component. Now we will be going to talk about the classification on the basis of type of thallus they have. So I hope, dear students, you are now clear with this part, which are ascolichen, which are basidiollichen, that you know, which has a fungal component as a ascomycetes, which has a fungal component as a basidiomycetes, that is known. We have studied that ascomycetes is more common. So obviously this ascolichen is going to be more common. Okay. So this is the important question that you can get. Okay. So this is the thing. Now we will be going to talk about the classification on the basis of type of thallus they have. So let's study that. So lichen classification based on type of thallus. Based on type of thallus. And in this we will be going to talk about a different type of lichen, and in this first lichen which we are going to study, that is crustose lichen. In this crustose lichen, if we see, the lichen is flat. Lichen is flat. Its thallus is flat and it is crust-like. It is crust-like. This crustose lichen, its thallus is found to be closely adhered to substratum, and that is specifically rocky substratum. On this is adhered, and this gives a crust-like appearance. It gives a crust, earth crust-like appearance, and it is found to be attached to the earth at several places. So, if we talk about the examples of crustose lichen, this belong graphis. Okay, then it belong lecanora, and another one that is belongs to crustose lichen, that is rhizocarpon. Okay. Now, apart to the crustose lichen, if you see the crustose lichen, you will say this. Suppose if I want to draw a diagram, it is the soil surface, and this is the lichen. Then this lichen will appear like this, and it is found to be added to the soil at several places. So this way, it looks like a crustose lichen. Now, another type of lichen that we are going to discuss, that is another second type, that is a foliose lichen. As the name suggests, foliose means leaf. So whatever the lichen is leaf-like, that lichen is kept in the foliose lichen. So in foliose lichen, also here this lichen is flat, it is leaf-like, and here it is found to be attached to substratum, attached to substratum by rhizoid-like structure, and that rhizoid means root-like. So root-like structure, rhizoid-like structure called rhizines. So if we see the structure, this look like this lobed leafy structure will be visible like this on the upper surface, and in this you will find this particular different structures. So it is looking leaf-like, so because of this it is known. And here on the bottom side of this, they have some this root-like structure which penetrate within the soil and get nutrition and help in attachment. These are known as rhizines. So this is the foliose lichen. Now, if we talk about the example of leaf-like lichen, then that is Parmelia and Peltigera. Okay, so this is the second type of lichen, that is foliose lichen. Now, after this, we are going to talk about the third type of lichen, that is fruticose lichen. Okay, so let's talk about the fruticose lichen. Fruticose lichen. Now, as the name suggests, this fruticose lichen, specifically, they are well-developed lichen, and this well-developed lichen are somewhat bigger than the initial two lichen, so they look like shrub-like. They are cylindrical in shape and branched as well. Now, if we see, they are found to be growing, they can grow erect, means vertical, or hanging from substratum. If we talk about erect fruticose lichen which is growing vertically, the example is cladonia. And those fruticose lichen which hang from the substratum, any substratum it can be there, it can be wood, it can be soil, it can be tree, anything can be there. From where if they are found hanging, then it is normally usnea. Okay, usnea. Okay. Now, and they are attached to substratum by mucilaginous disc. Now, how does disc look that we are going to understand by the diagram. See, suppose this is a substratum and its stem is there on which this fructose ligase is growing. So first this have a attaching disc. Now on attaching disc, you will see that the particular lichen grows. And when this lichen grows, it grows like this. Okay, like this they grow. Some more branches also originate from this. Like this they form. Now in this, you will see the attaching discs, some of the branches you will see, and you will see this structure, these are known as fruiting bodies. And due to formation of such fruiting bodies, these are known as fructicose lichen. So now if we remember, need to identify this fructicose lichen, you can identify by the disc and by the fruiting bodies. Now, if we want to remember the examples of this fructose lichen, then we can remember it by the Q. And Q is the short form which is used. C for cladonia, U for usnea, B for bryonia, E for evernia. So these are the particularly fructose lichen. And I hope you have understood the types of lichen. Now, after studying this type of lichen, we are going to discuss some mechanism that what particularly one mechanism we are going to discuss here, that is what are the relationship they have established, how they are beneficial to each other, what they provide, that we are going to discuss. And if we talk about the functions of fungus and functions of algae, then we can understand their relationship. And to understand this relationship, we first talk about functions of fungus in lichen. And when we talk about the functions of this lichen, we come to understand that the functions of lichen are the following. First, body structure and covering. Because the 95% part is made by this fungus, so body structure and covering is provided by fungus. Second is anchorage. Means if lichen is attaching to any rocky substrate, then for attachment the fungus is playing a role. Then another is absorption of water and minerals. Next function, if we take, see, in absorption of water and mineral also you have to remember that it absorbs water from the soil. Apart from that, it can also absorb from the wet air or atmosphere, dew or rain. That much capability has gained by this lichen. In minerals also, minerals can be picked up from the substratum and atmosphere. So do not going to use only substratum. They can use atmosphere. They can use for the dews. They can use rain for the absorption of this particular water. Okay. Then apart from this, they release some chemicals which dissolve minerals from substratum, the place where they lie. And the another function that is provided is sex organ and fruiting bodies are fungal in origin. Are fungal origin. Now, apart from this, next we are going to discuss the particular functions of algae. And if we talk about the particular functions of algae, come to know that. Okay, let's talk about the functions of algae in lichen. Now, if we talk about functions of algae, first function is photosynthesis. And this photosynthesis is major function. This photosynthesis is major function. The second is here if algae is blue green algae, so if particularly algae is blue green algae, then they can also carry out nitrogen fixation. Means apart from photosynthesis, if green algae is there, then only photosynthesis is going to be happen. But if the algal component is blue green algae, then they can perform photosynthesis as well as particularly what a nitrogen fixation. Okay. So this way mainly this is the important function that is provided by particularly algae. Apart from this, we have discussed that it provide nutrition or food, okay, which is the major function, which is one of the important function. Okay, so this way particularly. So these are the functions. Now, by studying this function, we come to know that they are obviously mutually uh, mutually in relationship with each other, and they are benefiting the both. But one scientist was there whose name is Crombie. This is an important one. And this Crombie gave one hypothesis that is known as master slave hypothesis. Master slave hypothesis. Nowadays, this master slave hypothesis is called as halottism, and this halottism is the most accepted association nowadays. Important halottism. Usually, you will find sometimes questions that halottism is a correct feature of. Now, this halottism explained control parasitism. What it explained? Controlled parasitism. And in this controlled parasitism, it want to say that, and some worker believe that fungus is controlled parasite over algae. Means up to the limited extent it is dependent on algae, or it is particularly we can say parasitic on algae. So because of this phenomena is known as controlled parasitism or halottism. Okay, so this is the about the particularly important one. Now, after this, we are going to discuss some of the economic importance of lichen. We have discussed the type of lichen, we have discussed the different mechanism in case of lichen. Now, the remaining part is the economic importance of lichen that we are going to discuss. When we talk about economic importance of lichen, we can note down some of the points, and in that we will understand that first, they are used as for food and fodder. Used as food and fodder. And if we understand this, then it is known that there is one species whose name is Cladonia rangiferina. Which one? Cladonia rangifera actually. This Cladonia rangifera, which is also known as reindeer moss, this reindeer moss is used as food in tundra region. Apart from this, one another example is here, which is used as food or flower, that is rock flower. That is species of Parmelia that is known as rock flower. If we talk about this species of Parmelia, it is used as food in South India, and its species are used as curry powder in India, also used as curry powder in India. Apart from used as a source of food and fodder, if you see, they are also a source of dye. And if we talk about the source of dye, the first thing is litmus. You know that litmus is a pH indicator that identifies the acid and base, that is obtained from Rossella tinctoria, the species of lichen that is Rossella tinctoria. Okay, and this is also particularly what a acid base pH indicator. Apart from this, they are also a source of some medicine. And if we talk about the source of medicine, then we come to know that usnic acid, it is a broad spectrum antibiotic, and this broad spectrum antibiotic is obtained from Usnea and Cladonia. Okay, so this is the species that help in particularly what this. After this, the source of dye and source of medicine. If we talk about more about economic importance, it is known that the perfumes are also obtained from some lichen, and it is known that perfumes are obtained from the species of Ramalina and Vernia. Then, if we talk about the another important, they are indicator of SO2 pollution indicator. We have discussed that. Apart from this, they are also used as a early colonizer or pioneer colonizer in barren areas. During ecological succession. Now, first, what understand what is ecological succession? Suppose one barren area was there. There was no life, but after a process of thousands of years, the forest get developed at that particular site. So whatever the events of different organisms which grown in that particular area during the thousands of years, and ultimately they made a forest. This is a sequence of events that occurred in that particular area to convert this barren area into the forest, that all sequence are come under the ecological succession. And then what happens? One community comes that reside, that enrich the soil content, they enrich the nutrient content of soil, and that it allow the growth of another species. But it is known that in these barren areas, in these rocky areas, during the ecological succession, the first species which is able to grow in that area, there is nothing but a lichen. So because of this, lichen are known as early colonizer or pioneer colonizer. And in that area, after lichen, in ecological succession, mosses are going to grow. So we also write one important statement here, that lichen paves the way for mosses. Okay, they allow the way for mosses. And apart from this, it is known that they also cause a forest fire. So if we discuss, you know that there is one species who is known, which is known as Usnia. It is commonly known as old man's beard. And this species of Usnia is inflammable. It is highly inflammable. So, in summer season or hot season, it produces forest fire. Okay, so this is the all detailing about lichen. So, dear student, I hope you are now thorough with this lichen. We have discussed the what is lichen, how lichen are associated, which is major component, different types of lichen based on fungal component we have discussed, based on the thallus structure also we have discussed types of lichen. Then we have discussed the economic importance, we have also discussed the halotism, we have also discussed the ecological succession. So dear student, by understanding this many, now I hope you are able to answer the questions regarding the lichen. And if you study this much, you will be confident and you will be able to answer all different types of questions regarding lichen. Now let's move further and we will talk about another topic, that is mycorrhiza. Okay, dear students, so we are going to discuss the important topic and almost the last topic of this chapter, biological classification, that is mycorrhiza. Okay, so first and foremost question that come in our mind, that what is mycorrhiza? So this is also a symbiotic association, but it is a symbiotic association between fungus and roots of higher plants. Okay, so it is a symbiotic association of fungus with the roots of higher plants. Now here higher plant means gymnosperm and angiosperm. So whenever the fungus shows symbiotic association with this gymnosperm and angiospermic roots, it is a mycorrhiza. So it is a symbiotic association, mutually beneficial association to both fungus and roots of higher plant. Now what is the function of this two? What we have to discuss, what is the function of this two? So what this fungus do? So fungus is heterotrophic, so it obtain food from root, food and shelter actually. Okay, food and shelter from root of higher plant. Okay, and they also help in absorption of water and mineral. So they are getting something from the root of higher plant, that is the food and shelter, but in reverse there is also increasing the surface area of absorption for water and mineral. So suppose this is a plant and this is a root, and if with this root this is a fungus is growing like this association, fungus is growing like this on the root, then fungus will send its hyphae to the far regions, and due to this whatever the minerals which are not directly available to the roots of the plant or roots of the higher plant, that made available by this fungus. So such a way they are in a mutual association to each other. Here fungus increases the surface area of absorption. Okay, so now which fungus is involved here, that we have to discuss, and how this fungus is associated with the roots of higher plant, that we have to discuss. And to answer that question we have to discuss the types of mycorrhiza. So let's talk about the type of mycorrhiza. And when we talk about type of mycorrhiza, the first type which we are going to discuss, that is ectomycorrhiza. We will discuss one by one. Ectomycorrhiza or ectotrophic mycorrhiza. When we talk about ectomycorrhiza or ectotrophic mycorrhiza, in this what happens, if suppose this is the stem and this is the root, and on this root the fungus is growing completely over this, like this, and this fungus grow over whole surface and form woolly covering, then this is nothing but ectorhiza. Ecto means surface. It is growing on the surface. But if we look at this part in detail, then we will come to know that in this root, it is growing on the surface. This fungus is obviously growing on the surface. But apart from growing on the surface, it also grow between the what a particularly cells. These are the cells, and between a cell also it grows. So fungus in ectomycorrhiza, fungus mainly grow on the surface, but here we come to know that it also grow, or fungus also penetrate or grow intercellularly, means between the cells, and intercellularly between the cortical cells. Okay, and after growing intercellularly in the cortical cells, they form a net-like structure between these cells, and this net known as Hartig net. What it is known as Hartig net. So here you can see this is the growth of what intercellular fungus, and this intercellular fungus is defined as what Hartig net. So what you need to remember here, two things. It will mainly grow on the surface, and another two, it can grow within the what? Between the intercellular space of cortical cells. If you find these two things, then it is obviously a ectomycorrhiza. So in this ectomycorrhizal association is found in. So we need to talk about the examples of this ectomycorrhiza. So we will discuss in the next slide. Now, so the plants with whom this ectomycorrhizal association is seen, that are Pinus, Abies, Oak, Eucalyptus, etc. But mainly these are. And the fungus which is involved, the fungus involved are mainly members of class Basidiomycetes. And this fungus which are involved, if we talk about the example of this, then that is Clavetia, then Amanita, etc. are involved in this association with the roots. And specifically we remember in this, one of the important thing, that Amanita is found to be associated with Pinus roots. Okay, so this is the ectomycorrhizal association, in which the fungus mainly grow on the surface of the root, but also it can grow between the cells of cortex. And all the examples we have discussed. Now after this, we are going to talk about another type of fungus, that another type of mycorrhiza, that is endomycorrhiza. So let's talk about endomycorrhiza. This endomycorrhiza is also known as endotrophic mycorrhiza. And in this endotrophic mycorrhiza, we will see that the fungus mainly grow inside or within the root. So because of this, the term endo is used. Endo means inside. So in this, what happens? Suppose this is the stem and this is a root. And if you see, the fungus is growing here. And if I draw this diagram in somewhat detail, you will see that the growth of fungus is less on the surface, but more on the cells. And in that, they grow between the cells as well as they enter inside the cell. And after entering inside the cell, they can form a vesicle or they can form a branch structure, the branch structure known as arbuscle. So fungus, if we talk here, grow intercellularly as well as intracellularly. This grow intracellularly as well as intracellularly. Now how? Now how? Then you can see this is the fungus which is growing in the between the cells and then it's entering within the cell, and within the cells we are forming this oval structure which are known as vesicles, and these branch structures which are known as arbuscle. So intracellularly they grow as well as intracellularly between the cells, and intracellularly means within the cells, and within cell it form vesicle or vesicle and arbuscle. Vesicle and arbuscle. Now this vesicle are nothing but unbranched knob-like hyphae which penetrated within the cell. And arbuscle, if we talk, these are the branched tree-like structure. In the cortical cells. And due to formation of this vesicle and arbuscle, this endomycorrhiza is also known as VAM. And this VAM stands for vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza. Okay, so this is particular the thing. Now, what are the functions and which fungus are involved in this endomycorrhiza? So, what we have understood from this, first is surface growth is less. It can grow within the root, but within the root, it can grow between the cells as well as within the cells. Okay, intra as well as intracellularly. And intracellularly, it forms vesicle or arbuscle, and due to this, it is known as vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza. Okay, student. So these are the root. This is the root that you should remember. Now talk about the functions. So if we talk about the VAM, vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza, the VAM is useful for phosphate absorption. First thing. Now here, if we talk about fungi, here fungi mainly belongs to class Zygomycetes. An example of Zygomycetes is glomus. And some members of Basidiomycetes are also found to be involved in this association of endomycorrhizal, and the example of that fungus is Corticium and Rhizoctonia. Okay, so these are also the fungus which is involved in endomycorrhizal association. Now it is known that this endomycorrhizal endomycorrhiza occur in roots of orchid, and with orchid the armillaria fungus is also found associated, and it is known that orchid are in obligate or permanent dependence on the mycorrhizal association. So because of this, it is known that it is NCERT statement orchid seldom exist without mycorrhiza. Seldom exist without mycorrhiza means rarely. Seldom means rarely. They are rarely found without mycorrhiza because they are in obligate or permanent association with fungus or with mycorrhiza for seed germination and further development. Okay, so this is the thing for which the orchid are found to be always associated with the mycorrhiza. Okay, dear students. So I hope now you are clear with this mycorrhiza and lichen. Thank you. Thank you all.